Hey there, folks. It's Matt Leger. I'm back with another Let's Read Druthers. I'm behind actually this month. It's actually August. At the time of this recording, it's August the 8th, and I haven't had a chance yet to record my Absurdity Observer and Good News Tidbits for July. And then I got to do August as well. So I made the commitment that we would do this together. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Now, I can't find my camera, so unfortunately I can't film this in the regular 4K like I'd like to, like I did previous months, but hopefully this is acceptable quality and you can see me and hear me okay, and we can go through this. Now, one thing I'm going to make a conscious effort not to do moving forward is to share, I know I said this last time and I didn't really do it, but I'm going to try my best not to share too much of my opinion on certain things. I mainly want to just read the articles and let you process those things and you form your own conclusions without my input necessarily. Whatever the expression is, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. You don't need to know anything about my asshole. That's a weird way of saying it, Matt. But okay, you get the idea. So I'm gonna basically just read the article. I'm going to try really hard not to react. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm going to react. I'm only human. I'm probably going to react to things. But I'm going to try hard not to interject with my own personal opinions as much. Let's see how it goes. So we're reading the Absurdity Observer again, which is some of the most absurd things that have happened in recent weeks. And for anybody who's just tuning in for the first time, this publication is, I guess, what you consider alt media now. They're actually speaking some truth compared to most newspapers. It's not all doom and gloom, but there are some screwed up things going on in the world, and that's inevitably what's going to make its way to the pages. But this is a little bit about druthers. It's an informal way of saying one's own way, preference, or choice. If I had my druthers, we would all know the truth. And druthers is exactly that. It's truth, love, freedom. I thought it said that on here somewhere. That's usually what it's about. Truth, love, freedom, all things that all of us should want. But on the back of every paper, it's a free publication, by the way. You just have to pay for shipping. You can have it shipped to your whole neighborhood if you want. And again, I'm not affiliated with Druthers in any way. I'm just a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of anybody. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I'm a huge fan of anybody or any organization that speaks the truth, the objective truth in all things. Things that we can all agree on. Now, I said also in previous episodes that I would show the comic as well. So there's the caricature, comic, satire, whatever you want to call it. mRNA jabs. I'll take those on my jacket versus my immune system. It's quite a poignant little cartoon there. It's saying a lot without saying a lot. So let's get right into it, because I got a few videos to record here, and I want to share all the craziness, and then we can get to the good news tidbits as well. It's important to consider the good news as well. And I've said this in another episode, but John Krasinski, when he did that Some Good News thing when the pandemic was first unfolding and all that, I love that. I love that so much, because it was important for us to have good news, where we were just bombarded with all kinds of crap and darkness, and it seemed like a very bleak time, and it was, but there were still some beaming, lights that were shining on all of us, and I think John Krasinski was a good example of that early on. I don't know that he's still doing it. I haven't looked into it in a while, but I'd be curious to see. I hope he did continue with that. So, some of the most absurd things that have happened in recent weeks. This is July, by the way, July 2023. So some of this stuff's going to be over a month old at this point. But still important to know. So, Delta Air, who claimed to be the world's first carbon-neutral airline, is facing a lawsuit after an investigation finds their claims to be false and misleading. The investigation into the carbon credit scheme the airline used found that nearly all offsets issued by the voluntary carbon offset market overpromise and underdeliver on their total carbon impact. Again, I'm going to try really hard not to say anything after each one, but maybe you can just tell what I'm thinking by my facial expressions. Health officials delayed a key report linking fluoride to brain harm. Is there anyone that was doubting this at this point? After a 6-year systematic review of fluoride's impact on the developing brain, a court order has led the National Toxicology Program making public their finalized report that was blocked by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services leadership and concealed from the public for nearly a year. The NTP reported that 52 of 55 studies found decreases in children's IQ associated with an increase in fluoride. And remember, fluoride is a byproduct of the aluminum industry. A study published in Curious titled Estimation of Excess Mortality in Germany during 2020 to 2022, Kumbander and al. Finds a strong correlation between the increase in mortality rates within the country and the introduction of COVID-19 vaccines. As the authors noted, the results show that the observed number of deaths in 2020 was close to the expected number with respect to the empirical standard deviation. By contrast, in 2021, the observed number of deaths was 2 empirical standard deviations above the expected number, and even more than 4 times the empirical standard deviation in 2022. 4 times. What the hell? You have to ask yourself, what the hell? Additionally, the authors noted that excess mortality shot up in groups below 30 years old, where typically no excess mortality occurs, from April 2021 onward. A similar mortality pattern was observed for stillbirths, with an increase of 19.4% in the fourth quarter of the year 2021 compared to the previous year. That's sad. And all the athletes and stuff, and just everybody now, not everybody, but a lot of people, not just athletes anymore, are just dropping dead. It's really scary, and I think we can put 2 and 2 together there and figure out why that's happening. The World Health Organization has announced its plans for an international pandemic treaty tied to a digital passport and digital ID system. They're still trying to do this. The plan, slated to be finalized by 2024, aims to shift governing authority from sovereign states to the WHO during a pandemic by legally binding member states to their revised international health regulations. German-based Deutsche Telekom subsidiary T-Systems has been contracted to develop a global vaccine passport system that links every person on the planet to a QR code digital ID so compliant subjects can move around as safely as possible during present and future health threats. Wow, I have a lot of things to say that I've got to keep inside. Okay, this should make for a much shorter video though, which will be nice. Canada Bread, or McCain, has admitted to colluding with rival Weston Foods, Loblaws, to set Canadian bread prices. This is not a new thing. Ending a 7-year investigation into one of the largest price-fixing scandals in the country's history. Can we talk about how they do the same thing with milk and eggs and basically most produce? This is not a new idea, but people love to refer to the bread, the loaves of bread. Oh, look at the price of loaves of bread. Yeah, but everything else is kind of doing the same. It's not just the bread, but the bread is always like the focal point for some reason, because it's like it's a loaf of bread, right? Everyone has one in their household and it's going up in price. And honestly, I think, okay, it's gone from, When I was growing up, it was like less than $1 a loaf. Now it's like $3, $4 a loaf. Maybe it'll go up to 5. Like, who cares? There's some things that we're seeing with inflation and price gouging and hikes that far surpass what's happening in the bread industry. But it is an indication that there's corruption there, obviously. Washington State issues a bill to become a sanctuary state for child sex changes. Senate Bill 5599 would allow host homes to provide housing for runaway transgender minors without being required to notify their parents in some instances. The bill would also allow transgender minors to seek gender-affirming health care. That's going to go sideways in all kinds of ways. Planned Parenthood is suspended by the Saskatchewan government from giving school presentations after sex from A to Z cards describing graphic sexual acts were presented in a grade 9 class in Lumsden. Sick. The set of cards is intended for gay, bi, and queer young people to help discuss topics in a sex-positive, identity-affirming context. Note: the content of these cards is far too vile to even give examples here. They are certainly not child-friendly. That is freaking gross. 1 year after Canada made it illegal to condone, deny, or downplay the Holocaust, an interim report by the federal government reveals plans to also make questioning the narrative on unmarked mass graves near residential schools illegal by categorizing these as hate speech. It's so funny the way they frame things. Hey, what's that cemetery doing there beside that old school? Hey, you shut up, that's hate speech. Don't ask questions, that's hate speech. Don't look into the history and see if things were not done, morally or ethically or correctly. No, that's hate speech. An article recently published to Case Rep Ophthalmol titled Ocular Surface Erosion After Suspected Exposure to Evaporated COVID-19 Vaccines. Oh yeah, I remember this. This is freaky. Chantra et al. Describes a disturbing incident that occurred during a vaccination campaign where a nurse accidentally broke a vial of vaccine. 15 out of the 20 people in the room were diagnosed with ocular surface erosion. It screwed up their eyes after experiencing symptoms such as red eyes and a rash within hours of exposure. What is it doing? What is it doing to your insides if it's doing that to your eyes at the external level? Freaks me out. I genuinely just got a chill up my spine. A FOIA request by Blacklocks? I don't know if that's a typo. It's a Blacklocks reporter revealed that as early as 2021, the Privy Council office sought to downplay vaccine injuries and other adverse events to maximize public confidence in the safety of the COVID vaccine. Never mind what it actually does to people, let's just minimize the public confidence in this thing. Or maximize, rather. We should minimize. In the memo titled Testing Behaviorally Informed Messaging in Response to Severe Adverse Events Following Immunization, the memo suggested skewing statistics purposefully to minimize the impact of vaccine deaths or injuries. The memo further noted, different framings of the exact same risk can drastically affect a person's decision and perception of risk. Which is true, but it goes both ways. It's so hard for me not to inject my opinion. I'm trying not to. I'm hopefully keeping it at a minimal. We've got 4 or 5 more to go. After MPs passed a motion requiring the Liberal government to let them see the COVID-19 vaccine contracts the federal government made with Big Pharma, the cabinet is now demanding MPs sign an NDA if they wish to see the terms of the COVID-19 vaccine contracts so that the public never learns the truth. Big surprise there. That says a lot right there. The things they do and the things they say, they speak for themselves. You should be able to form your own conclusions there. A terminally ill woman in Alberta who had been, oh, I remember this is sad, who had been denied a place on an organ transplant list because she is not vaccinated against COVID-19 has now had her case dismissed by the Supreme Court of Canada. What a joke. Not her situation, but the Supreme Court is such a freaking joke. The Alberta Court of Queen's Bench and the Alberta Court of Appeal has also ruled against her, stating that the Charter and Bill of Rights do not cover the specific COVID-19 vaccine policies. Oh my God. Having exhausted all her legal options in Canada, Sheila Annette Lewis has now started a fundraiser to obtain surgery in the U.S. Sheila, I wish there was more I could do for you. I will definitely help raise awareness, and I'm sending you healing and positive vibes so that you can get through this. I'm sure that there's a lot of Canadians out there and people globally that will support you and help you with your fundraiser. But Sheila, I'm wishing you the best, and I hope that you can get what the treatment that you need and that you recover quickly. Dr. Patrick Phillips, an Ontario-based physician, has just been issued a fine of $6,000 and had his medical license revoked by the CPSO over his vocal opposition to COVID-related public health measures. Can't even have an opinion anymore without losing your license. Despite a nursing shortage, a London Health Science Centre nurse is facing termination for refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccine. The nurse, Sandra Hartman, was on maternity leave in 2021 and recently returned to work only to be put on unpaid leave for declining to be vaccinated against the coronavirus. I don't understand this. I thought we were past this now. Why is this still happening? Were these people's jobs not reinstated, most of them? They're still fighting with this? What the hell's wrong with the medical establishment? Which I don't answer that, I know. That's pretty obvious. Sources within we got 2 more to go. Sources within the U.S. government reveal that the earliest 3 people believed to have been infected with SARS-CoV-2 in the fall of 2019 were all members of the Wuhan lab who worked closely on coronavirus research. Ben Hu, Yu Ping, and Yan Zhu, as reported by the Public and Racket, and 3 were working with the closest relatives of SARS-CoV-2, inserting gain-of-function features unique to it, and all 3 were co-authors on the journal article published pre-COVID titled "Discovery of a Rich Gene Pool of Bat Coronavirus Provides New Insights into the Origin of SARS Coronavirus." Hu et al. Lead author Hu also co-authored a 2017 paper on chimeric bat coronaviruses with Peter Daszak, the head of EcoHealth Alliance, which was funded in part by the NIH. What do you know? All things connected. I say that a lot for usually positive things, but it works the same for the evil forces in the world. All connected. And here's the last one for Absurdity Observer, July 2023. A study by the Cleveland Clinic published in OFID titled Effectiveness of the Coronavirus Disease 2019 Bivalent Vaccine, Shrestha et al., finds that while the vaccine appeared to work in the first few weeks, after that the vaccine had negative efficacy. As the authors of the study put it, the risk of COVID-19 increases with time since most recent prior COVID-19 episode and with the number of vaccine doses previously received. Let's read that again. Risk of COVID-19 increases with time since most recent prior COVID-19 episode and with the number of vaccine doses previously received. That's so confusing. Another study published in April of this year, to vaccines, Uversky et al., may help explain why. The study concluded Ig4 levels detected after repeated vaccination with the mRNA vaccines may not be a protective mechanism. Rather, it constitutes an immune tolerance mechanism to the spike protein that could promote unopposed SARS-CoV-2 infection and replication by suppressing natural antiviral responses. Suppressing natural antiviral responses. You have to ask yourself why they would want to suppress natural antiviral responses. Could it be that there's a monopoly that's being created on immunization and immune systems in general? It's a sick world, my friends. It's a sick, sick world, but it's up to us, the lights of the world, the light in the darkness, the healers of the world, to make this place better and to cure those sicknesses. I don't know what's at the top of this big chain of evil and destruction and corruption, but I can only assume it's some disgusting, grotesque mass of alien evil that it's like a parasite. It's like a giant parasite that's enthralled humankind at the very high level, and it's kind of working its way down with this disgusting tendrils and root systems, trying to burrow its way into the minds of the masses. We have to be strong. We have to be stronger than ever. We have to bind together. We have to support each other. It's the only way we're going to get through this. It's the only way we're going to bring the much needed light back to the world and cut through this darkness. This evil needs to be laid to rest once and for all. Anyway, we could probably continue that conversation in Philosophy Corner. But for today, that is it. Look at that. 20 minutes, under a half an hour this time. Not too bad, right? That's what happens when Matt doesn't share his opinion on every goddamn thing he reads. I did inevitably share some of my opinions. I'm only human. I do still have an ego, even though I try to suppress it sometimes, but it still comes out. I still want to inject my own opinions in there, obviously. As that last statement was very clear. That's why I waited until the very end to share it. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Join me again next time. The next one we're going to work on, I'm going to record this one back to back. So look for this on the channel. We're going to do good news tidbits for July 2023. Then we're going to be talking about some good news. And then maybe we can try to keep that video under 10-15 minutes, because unfortunately, in this day and age, and just in the state of the world, there's a lot more bad news, unfortunately, than good news. There is still some good news to be had, and if we search our hearts, there's probably more good news than bad. But it's all perspective. So join me again on the next one. Good news tidbits. We're going to go forward, and we're going to do that. And then before long, being that it's August already, we're going to be doing the Absurdity Observer for August 2023, as well as the good news tidbits. So thank you, Druthers. Thank you, audience, for watching. Love you guys. Appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. Join me next time. Take care. Be well. See you then.